This evening, we are holding a public hearing for consideration of financing methods for purchase of the Shady Brook Mobile Trailer Park, also known as Shady Acres. And so one of the first things I'll say is that I'm going to ask you to turn your cell phones off or set them to stun. If you do need to take a call for personal business, please be courteous to your neighbors and stay either into the hallway or out maybe at the back of the room. So we'll be able to do what we can. All right. Can you help adjust by pushing that? Because I can hear myself up here, I just don't know about what's going on in the back of the room here. All right, I'll try this a little better. You're not going to be able to hear great in the back because our speakers only go part way back in the room. We weren't planning on using this for very large groups, so we'll do this. I'll repeat, as I said, please turn your cell phones off or set them to stun. And if you do need to take a call, please be courteous to your neighbors and step out. The other thing for procedures for this evening, we will go through a staff report. We will hear from our attorney. We'll hear from finance. Then we'll open it up for public comment. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak for themselves. Please tell us your name and whether you are a resident of Kittitas County. You're not required to give your address. And then as we go through, one of the things we've determined over the years is it's better not to have clapping, booing, cheering, any of that sort of thing. Just wait and let the next person do their comments, and then we'll move through the process, all right? If anyone gets way out of bounds, then I'll have to step in and we'll start controlling the situation. So far, I'll say that all of the meetings we've had regarding the issue have been well disciplined, and as the crowds, you've done really, really well. So I'll look forward to continuing you guys doing that yourself. So, like I say, the participation, we have a sign up, I believe, on the back table, and then when it comes time for comments, we'll pull that up, staff will bring it to me, and I'll call them off in order. Hopefully you've all signed up if you want to speak. So, let's go ahead and start with staff report from Neil Collins.
Good evening, Commissioners. This
Mickey, would check that?
There we go. Good evening, Commissioners. For the record, Neil Calkins, Deputy Prosecuting Attorney. As has been mentioned, what we have tonight is taking up the final matter in the acquisition of the process of acquiring the Shady Brook Mobile Home Park. The commissioners and the sellers, the Bartons, entered into a purchase and sale agreement, I want to say in April. And that agreement, after negotiating the price, the agreement contained various conditions. Most all of those conditions have been met. One of the conditions was the inspection of the physical property. The county enlisted Terra Graphics Environmental Engineering, who conducted a Phase 1 environmental review and found nothing noteworthy and did not consider it or did not recommend moving on to a Phase 2 analysis. So that condition of the physical plant itself basically was satisfied. The county engaged in a Kidder Matthews for an appraisal of the property, which helped us, get an idea of what it is valued. We've looked over the title report, and there is again nothing remarkable about it as far as the usual city easements, the applicability of the Aquavella case. As I said, there's nothing remarkable about that. So here we are with the last contingency, and that is that the county authorize the funding, the expenditure of funds for this, and authorize the purchase, or in other words, authorize the chairman to execute the closing documents. So that is basically how we got where we are and what is before the board this evening, as I understand it.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? All right, go ahead.
Mr. Calkins, you went over the contingencies that the county is obligated to under the purchase and sale agreement. There are also contingencies that the seller is obligated to. Have they met those contingencies?
They have so far, yes. There still is a contingency of various deposits that are to be turned over, but that's done at closing, and so.
Thank you.
All right, next will be a presentation from Finance. Ms. Judy.
Judy
hold-
Plus,
Hold the mic down close to you, please. Thank
Judy
you.
Plus, Budget and Finance Manager for the record. Well, Paul was gonna ask me the question.
I do have some questions. Did you have a short presentation or?
No,
Okay. So as far as questions go, the Finance Committee's been meeting regarding this purchase. Is that correct?
correct.
Okay. And you and I have been talking and others about different options, paying cash, bonding it over a period of time, etc. My notes indicate that a 20-year bond for this purchase would be about $112,500 per year. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Depending on the interest, but yes.
Okay. The purchase price is $1.45 million. Just round that out to $1.5 million. Does the county have adequate bonding capacity for that level of purchase?
Yes, we do. The, per our limitation of indebtedness as of December 31st, 2015, the amount that the county can go out to debt without the vote of the people is $74,966,000.
Okay. So we have adequate bonding capacity. As I mentioned, we've been meeting to discuss financing options. Can you just describe a couple of those options that we're considering?
Considering doing a GO bond, interfund loan.
Can you describe GO bond for the folks here, please?
GO bond is like a mortgage, kind of. You fill out all the paperwork and apply, and debtors buy the bonds, and we get the money, and we have to make annual payments on principal and interest over a dedicated amount of time, which is usually 20 years.
Okay, thank you. And it's a general obligation bond?
Yes. And the county has also utilized REIT dollars, which is a real estate excise tax. However, there is not enough money in that fund to utilize that on this purchase. That fund is currently used to pay the debt on the jail. You can also do an interfund loan, which for that length of period, it's not, the state auditors do not recommend it for long-term financing, only short-term financing. We have public works trust loans, but that it doesn't apply to that, and we can also look at the local program, which is the local option capital asset lending program through the state of Washington Treasurer, but the program doesn't meet those qualifications.
Okay. So the committee's still doing its work and hasn't come up with a recommendation quite yet, exactly how to structure the debt, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. As far as making the payments on whatever option we come, the Finance Committee actually comes up with as far as the recommendation goes, there's also different choices there for the county, is that correct?
Yes.
And some of those would be?
The county can have the general fund pay the debt, the public facilities 0.08 tax, or go out to the vote of the people. I mean, where you would increase the property taxes.
Right, but your opinion and my opinion is that's not necessary in this case. Okay. So taking a vote of the people or an increased tax off the table, when we're looking at the feasible options, or we're looking at the options for financing and we're looking at the options for repayment, is it your opinion as the Budget and Finance Manager for Kittitas County that those are all feasible options for us to consider?
Yes.
Okay. Is it necessary to make a final decision on which one of those we choose today?
No, according to the county's debt policy, which the board has adopted as recommended by the county treasurer, the board has to, within 60 days, prepare a resolution to conclude the reimbursement process. So as you make your decision today, you need to make sure that you state that you will be doing a reimbursement and fulfilling the resolution that you're going to be seeking financing.
So, if I heard you correctly, that if we make a decision today, we need to make sure that we state it's our intent to seek financing and to reimburse the
Yes.
purchase price through that process, whatever we eventually choose.
Correct.
Okay.
So in the policy, it says the declaration of official intent must contain a general functional description of the project, property, or program to be financed by the reimbursement bonds, example, school renovation building. The project description is sufficient if it identifies by name and functional purpose the fund or account from which the original expenditure is paid. So the original expenditure will be paid from the general fund.
Okay. Okay, I just have one last question. Considering current circumstances and given all the options being considered that we just discussed, is it your opinion that this purchase is within the county's financial means as we sit today?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you. Ms. Pleasant, any other questions? No. Nor from I. Thank you very much. I do believe, Commissioner, do you have a presentation you wish to share with the audience?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just wanted to take a moment and go over really quickly, kind of in a little bit greater detail, why we're here and what's led to this purchase being considered in public hearing today. And so I have a brief presentation with some graphics for folks. I hope you can see it okay back there. So I think the question that most people want to know, or the big question out there, is why purchase Shady Brook? And the answer is really pretty simple. This property is listed as an acquisition in the county's master plan for the event center. It has been since 1997. We recently updated that plan and re-adopted that update this year, and I'll go over some of the process that it took to do that. And it's really the job of the county, once those plans, those strategic plans are adopted, to begin the implementation process. And that's what we're doing. The master plan update process for the event center began quite a while ago, actually in May of 2014, so over a year ago. We went through several different steps in order to get to an updated master plan. All of those steps are listed right there on the screen for you to see, so I don't need to go over all of them. But I think it's fair to say that it was lengthy and it was fairly extensive, and it included a lot of public process. There were at least 28 separate meetings that were scheduled and conducted with regards to the update, and most of those were open to the public. The county issued several press releases about the planning process. The planning process itself and the final strategic plan were well covered in the local newspaper, both here in Ellensburg at the Daily Record and in the Upper County in the Northern Kittitas County Tribune. We conducted 3 different surveys as part of that process. The first one was for fair and rodeo attendees, and about 1,000 responses were gained from that survey. The second was for residents, and that was specifically about the fair and the rodeo. We had, I think, about 500 responses to that survey. And then the last was a comprehensive draft plan survey that was mailed to every household in Kittitas County with a registered voter. And our responses there were right between 660 and 670. I think the actual number was 667 or 662, I don't remember. We had many goals as part of the planning process. They were to improve safety and security. They were to improve opportunity for economic activity at the event center. They were to manage the growth of the event center over time, to enhance the appearance and aesthetics of this facility, and to return the horse fair to the regular fair that's been missing for I think about 30 years as part of our regular fair. Now, the acquisition of Shady Brook, or the property that the mobile home park actually sits on, received the most votes for highest priority out of all of the projects, which included 47 in the master plan that we sent out in our survey, that final survey, to every household with a registered voter in Kittitas County. People could rate the projects either lowest, low, average, high, or highest, and the Shady Brook acquisition actually got the most highest votes. So why is the acquisition of Shady Brook important to the plan? Well, there's really three reasons, and they're the same three reasons why every real estate purchase is important to anybody, and that's location, location, location. As we all know, the event center and the rodeo grounds, the fairgrounds and the rodeo grounds, have been located on this site for nearly 100 years. When it was originally constructed, this was the edge of town. Obviously, the town's grown significantly, the city of Ellensburg has, and it's no longer the edge of town. But the event center is severely constrained on really all sides. To the southwest, you've got Craig's Hill, and everywhere else, you have neighborhoods. To the north, of course, you have not only neighborhoods, but commercial area. Expansion towards the north of the property, that direction pattern was established a long time ago, long before any member of the Board of County Commissioners currently has been elected. And again, it simply meets the long-term strategic plan goals for the event center. So why are we pursuing this now? Well, there's really only one reason, and that's because of opportunity. The county has never had an opportunity to purchase this property. The owner approached the county a little over a year ago. They basically said that they are willing to sell, and they've made it clear that they want to sell to us. They've done that not only in private to the county, but publicly in the newspaper and in a formal letter that was written to the Board of County Commissioners a couple of months ago. We also have a fairgrounds bond for improvements that was just retired last year. There is therefore some funding that's available that was being used for debt service at this facility that now can be repurposed for the same process without any impact on our general fund and without any need for a tax increase. And finally, financially, the timing remains good as debt is inexpensive in the marketplace, as we all know. So how will the property be used? Just to orient you, this is University Way, right here. So this would be the location of Starbucks. These are parking lots for the university. This would be, I believe, where Subway and 7-Eleven are located. This would be where Dairy Queen is located. This would be where Weiner's is located. This is currently Shady Brook. So this is the mock-up drawing that's in the draft, or that was in the strategic plan, and this is the actual, one of the actual pages from the survey that went out to folks, so you could actually see the drawings and see what was being considered. The strategic plan actually considers, as you can see, or projects an RV park to be developed in this portion of the property. It shows rehabilitation of the existing stream area and an 80-foot setback according to modern critical areas ordinances. As we know, the stream is severely degraded in this area. And then all of these yellow kind of bars here actually signify use during the fair and rodeo event by the Yakima Nation. The Yakima Nation was part of our planning process. They selected this as their preferred option for future use as part of the fair and rodeo. And they're important to the process because they actually donated some of the land that the fair and rodeo grounds currently sits on today. So there's a couple of things to remember. First of all, the strategic plan does show that these are possibilities, but there has not been feasibility done on the redevelopment of that property. That's true with all the major projects in the strategic plan. And as we were adopting the strategic plan and going through the public process, we were very, very clear that most of the major projects still required feasibility. That, in my mind, that doesn't change the fact that this acquisition is still very, very important to the future expansion plans and growth pattern for the event center. Even if it's not used in the manner that the master plan currently portrays it to be used, it's still an important acquisition because of the constraints involved with this particular site. As you know, we've been acquiring property in that direction over time. This is just a natural progression. So what about the residents? And I know a lot of the residents are here, and they've been talking to us quite frequently over the last several months, as have some of the folks who are advocating for the needs of the residents. And we've been hearing a lot from them and have been listening to their concerns. The county is planning and is working very hard to address the needs of the residents. We are having ongoing discussions with the residents as we speak. Most of those plans are not set yet, but we hope to have some plans in the near future to share. But the bottom line is that the residents who are currently there will have to eventually relocate. That's been true of every single acquisition that the county has purchased north of the event center. Now, state law requires minimum notice of 1 year for the county, or anyone else for that matter, to close a mobile home park. But it's likely that the county will provide longer notice than that. And we've been talking about potential benefits for homeowners, like a revolving loan fund account to assist in relocation, and other things. There are also some state benefits for assisting homeowners in relocation. In addition, the county has done some planning for assistance for homeowners. We've contracted with a firm called CC Consulting. They're out of Malaga, which is in Chelan County. They have some direct experience closing mobile home parks, and we have really hired them as direct assistance for the homeowners to provide access to benefits, as well as to do research on options and streamline the process for those who wish to relocate. As I mentioned, we do have some relocation assistance planning going forward. We're in the data collection stage now. That's coming to an end very soon. I expect a report in the very near future. We've been meeting with the residents on a pretty regular basis, both informally and formally, and we expect to form a task force to address not just this issue, but also really holistically long-range issues for affordable housing solutions in Kittitas County. We have also already committed to a delayed closure of the mobile home park until we have some solutions in place. And we are currently pursuing a property management contract for this property as far as collecting rents and doing maintenance and dealing with the needs of the tenants with a private company. So where do we go from here? Well, the next step really is the public hearing, which we are all here for. We need to conduct this public hearing and then make a decision as the Board of County Commissioners on whether to move forward or not. Assuming that we do make the decision to move forward, the next step would be the real estate closing, and I believe that is scheduled to occur no later than September 9th. Is that correct? And then after that, at some point in the future, once we have our ducks in a row, and this is an eventual, the closure notice would actually be posted publicly. Again, the date of closing has to be at least 1 year from the date of notice, and there is no set time frame for the notice to go out. The county has said publicly several times that we will not give notice until we have a plan. And then eventually after that, it would be the redevelopment of the site, whether it's into an RV park or parking or whatever may happen eventually. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Brett, can you hear me all right? Yeah, Brett, there is a sign up on the back table. Can you bring me the sign up? Staff, is there anything else to add before we start the public hearing? All right, as soon as I have the paper.
Wow.
Not sure which one that was. I'll put this one back in. All right, thank you. Sorry about the sound. Now that our sinuses are cleared out, we'll get started. So I have many pages of people who have signed up to speak first person to come, excuse me, I'm slightly out of order. We are now going to open the public testimony portion of this public hearing. Everyone will have an opportunity to speak to the board. Please address the board only. Do not address anyone else other than us. This is our hearing. And then when I signal you saying, you know, your time is up, please wrap up your thought and allow the next person to come up. The other one is I will name two people at a time. The first one will come up, and the next one kind of stand in the outline, ready to step up, and that'll help expedite this evening's testimony. So the first person will be Bob Martin. The second one, Dick Woody, excuse me.
I'll read that. I'm Bob Martin. I'm a resident of Kittitas County, and I'm pro buying property. Let me get my notes here. If we don't get that property now, if we bypass or this goes haywire, somebody, a private concern could buy it and would adhere to the 1 year to move the residents off. I think the county's been real fair of helping and going above and beyond the call of duty to help these people. And there is other places to live. And the county, I was told that early 1980s, and then I was told tonight they were looking at that property. It's on the want list from the 70s or 60s or something. So I'm for buying a property, and the county's going to help these people get relocated. I think that's a fair deal.
Thank you. Dick, did you want to come up?
Oh, wait.
The other thing I want to say is once you've had an opportunity to speak, that's your only opportunity for the evening. So make sure you get it out what you want to get out. Next one is Julie Sorensen. And then following Julie will be Heather Harrell.
I'm Julie Sorensen. I'm a resident of Kittitas County, and I'm representing the Kittitas County 4-H Livestock Committee that supports the recent purchases of both residential and commercial properties and the pending purchase of the property, which currently encompasses the Last Chance Tavern and Shady Brook Trailer Park. We have supported expansion of the fairgrounds for at least a decade and have participated in 2 long-range planning sessions that reached similar conclusions. On November 1st, 2007, the Kittitas County 4-H FFA Livestock Committee met with county commissioners for the study session about inadequate space for youth exhibiting livestock during the county fair. A letter the committee sent to the commissioners on the outcome of that study is excerpted here. We appreciate your interest in resolving both short and long-term space issues at the county fair. During the study session, you asked for our input about how to deal with the ever-growing lack of space for our 4-H and FFA livestock exhibitors. After reviewing the Kittitas County Fair Board's North End Development proposal, the Livestock Committee supports this proposal that would provide stall and show arena space at the north end of the fairgrounds, which then frees up both horse barns for beef and other livestock. The Livestock Committee identified numerous benefits to this proposal. Horse youth exhibitors would be part of the fair. Their show wouldn't have to be held 2 weeks prior. Beef would be housed in a safe environment with more space than the current setup. Overcrowding of swine, goats, and sheep would be eliminated. Additionally, space would help ensure that no youths are discouraged from showing the animals of their choice because of inadequate space. With horse stalls set up near showing and warm-up arenas, the North End development could be a magnet for new events, goat shows, horse shows, etc., to be held at the county event center, events that now go elsewhere due to the setup and space. They requested action. We asked that the county commissioners fund a feasibility study to further consider the Fair Board's North End development proposal. The study would provide direction to the Fair Board to identify costs of the project and help put a plan together for resolving the lack of space for livestock exhibitors during the fair. We ask to be placed on your next meeting's agenda to further explore this option with you.
Thank you.
Julie, Mr. Sorensen? I have one quick question. How many people are on the livestock committee?
We had a meeting Tuesday night, there were 20 to 25 that showed up, and there's maybe less or more than that.
Thanks.
But it represents all the livestock clubs.
Thank you.
Next is Ms. Heather Harrell, followed by Becky McDowell.
My name is Heather Harrell. I'm a current resident of Kittitas County, and I represent the Kittitas County Fair Board. In keeping with the county's long-standing efforts to purchase property north of the fair and rodeo grounds, the Fair Board supports the recent purchases of both the residential and commercial properties and the pending purchase of the property which currently encompasses the Last Chance Tavern and the Shady Brook Trailer Park. These purchases support the long-term strategic planning for the fair and rodeo grounds, future expansion dating back to discussions really that pulled before the 1980s. The acquisition of these properties also support the county's current management philosophy of the fair and rodeo grounds by first, increasing diversity in the types of events that we can host, two, reducing the amount of time the grounds sit idle by increasing the number of events hosted, and three, expanding the overall ability to host events year-round. The Fair Board also supports the County Commissioner's plan to mitigate the impacts on the current residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Becky McDowell, followed by Roylene Crawford. And thank you.
I'm Becky McDowell. I'm a resident of Kittitas County. I've been on the Fair Board since 1999. In 1997, Landerman Moore completed a complex master plan for the Kittitas County Fairgrounds. The Landerman Moore complex plan laid out a plan for expansion of the fairgrounds through purchasing property to the north of the existing boundary, including the Shady Brook Trailer Park. Landerman Moore stated the plan was focused on finding ways to improve the service capabilities of the fairgrounds as a year-round facility available to the community and general public. Over the years, as property has come up for sale, the county has acquired the property within the master plan. By 2007, the county had acquired substantial north end property, and the Fair Board felt it was time to start utilizing the acquired ground for additional facilities to house animals during the fair. And the fair is experiencing overcrowding and safety issues due to the growth of the youth, livestock, and small animal exhibitors. The additional facilities would also be advantageous for off-season revenue generating events, helping to cover maintenance costs of the facility, possibly even propelling the facility to a break-even status, eliminating the use of county general funds. On June 6, 2007, a request was presented to the commissioners from the Fair Board asking for an update to the comprehensive master plan. It was not until 2014 that the county was able to contract with Beckworth Consulting Group to complete an update of the 1997 complex master plan. The county created a citizen advisory committee, of which I was a member. The Beckworth Comprehensive Plan update took over a year to complete. It included many meetings with a broad representation of user groups, including stakeholders, Yakima Indian Nation, Central Washington University, and citizens. It also included multiple surveys, of which the Citizens Advisory Committee helped to comprise the questions. The surveys were collected from the county residents and visitors to the Kittitas County Fair and Rodeo. The Beckworth plan also included the recommendation for the county to purchase the Shady Brook Trailer Park. I support the purchase of the Shady Brook Trailer Park. I support the commissioners helping to transition the current residents of the trailer park to affordable housing. I also strongly support the Bortons and their desire to sell the property to the county. I believe the purchase and the development of this property will benefit all of the residents of Kittitas County.
Thank you. Next, Roylene Crawford, followed by Becky Sherman.
Roylene Crawford, current resident, Kittitas County. I'm going to be short and sweet. I support the Barton's right to sell their property. I support the Barton's right to sell the property to Kittitas County. And I support Kittitas County in the purchase of Shady Brook mobile home park.
Thank you. Just a moment, okay. Becky Shirley, followed by Wilma Pratt. Thank you.
Yep. I'm Becky Shirley. I'm a Kittitas County resident. I am in favor of the county moving forward with the purchase. The county has been very generous in the relocation time and resources being provided and offered. If a private individual were to purchase this land, they would not have to adhere to that and most likely wouldn't. And this purchase has been in the master plan for years. It's been in discussion and had input from the community for years. And I support moving forward, and it's in the best interest of the county to proceed forward with the purchase.
Thank you. Ms. Wilma Pratt, followed by Bill Allison.
I'm Wilma Pratt. I've been a 60-year resident of Ellensburg. I've been on the Fair Board now, ending my 40th year, and some of the first discussions about Shady Brook Trailer Court was started when I first came on the Fair Board, and it was told to us as a Fair Board we needed to make sure that the county acquired the trailer park and our to improve our facilities and be able to have more events. And if we didn't purchase it, someone privately would purchase it, and we would no longer have an opportunity to buy it.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Bill Allison, followed by Randy Chapman.
Hello, my name is Bill Allison. I've been a Fair Board member for 14 years. During that period of time, I have seen the fair expand to every corner and every inch of the ground is used up. The first year I was on the Fair Board, we had a local car club with about 12 cars in this room. The very next year, there was not space to accommodate those cars. We reached the point where we have to put exhibitors outside the main grounds. I recommend the county commissioners acquire the property north of the fairgrounds. I am concerned about the people living in Shady Brook Home Park. Some reports that I've heard indicate that the electrical, the water, and the sewer systems are not just and need to be replaced. Most of the manufacturers probably are not up to standard either. Those built prior to 1965 have aluminum wiring, which is a fire hazard. Plus, I'm sure none of the homes meet the current snow load requirement. It appears to me the city of Ellensburg, the Daily Record, and people in opposition to this purchase want to keep the residents living in unsafe, unsanitary conditions instead of building new, low-cost housing that is safe and sanitary. Commissioners, please move ahead with the purchase of Shady Brook Home Park. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Next, Mr. Randy Chapman, followed by Jerry Mayo.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Randy Chapman. I'm over here tonight from Spokane. I happen to be the president of the Association of Manufactured Homeowners, AMHO, and we are a statewide association representing homeowners who live in manufactured housing communities. I've been working with the homeowners at Shady Acres for the past several months and helped them form a homeowners association incorporated with the state of Washington. AMHO was formed by homeowners who were fearful that their communities would close and that they would therefore lose all the equity they had in their homes. That fear has unfortunately become a reality for thousands of manufactured homeowners over the past decade or so. Indeed, it seems that the one group of homeowners who's been harmed more than any other group are Latino families. Besides the homeowners at Shady Acres, AMHO is assisting 105 other Latino households in South King County who are also being threatened with eviction because the land under their homes is going to be used for another purpose. When one thinks of the preservation of affordable housing, one tends to think of government stepping in to provide housing for those most in need. One does not usually think of government actively destroying affordable housing, especially when they are not replacing this housing with anything else. Surely it is one of the government's priorities to take care of low-income families and seniors. Evicting them from their homes goes against the primary objective. I wonder if you are all concerned that you might be causing problems that not only for the homeowners and their families who will be displaced, but also for all the citizens of Kittitas County. Should a lawsuit be filed claiming that you have violated fair housing laws and other civil rights laws by targeting Latino households in your attempt to provide temporary part-time parking for rodeo attendees? As I understand it, the role of government is to affirmatively further fair housing, not destroy it. Please think very carefully before signing the purchase and sale agreement. There is a lot at stake here. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Jerry Lale, followed by Jerry Jarnigan.
My name is Jerry Lale. I've lived in the county for 41 years. I came here to go to school, and I'm one of the people that fell in love with Ellensburg, and here I am. I'm in support of the purchase, and I'm in support of the purchase primarily because I think it's a property rights issue. I don't think that we have the ability to tell the Bartons, you can't do this, you can't do that. They've paid taxes on that for 40 years, and I know because I lived in that trailer park in 1976, and some of the units that are there now were there then. The county has been buying up property, I think in a responsible fashion. It's been going on for years, and it's all part of our master plan. I don't want to hammer on the master plan too far, but the master plan and the survey seem to point that that's what most people want. And I would also go back to a point that came up earlier. What happens if the county doesn't buy this? If a private developer comes in there and writes a check, that's going to change drastically, and the compassion for anybody is going to change drastically because they'll be driven completely by profit. That will make our rodeo grounds and our fairgrounds a more attractive place for bigger and better shows. More people come to town, more people buy things, more people spend money in local stores. I do sympathize with people losing their home, but it's not like they're being thrown out on the street. There's housing options available. The county is working to make those available. I'd like to close with the same thing I have in my letter, that change is often hard, but done well, it can be good for everyone involved. The county is working diligently toward this goal, and I support their open effort to make this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Jerry Jarnigan, followed by Jody Shender.
My name is Jerry Jarnigan, and I'm a resident of Kittitas County. I've been on the Fair Board for 14 years, and I have often wondered how many 4-H horse kids have been left out. And I heard this week that had been 40 years when they moved the 4-H horse show from the fair to the 2 weeks prior. And I wonder from this point forward, how many more kids and families are still going to be carting up, coming down here 2 weeks before fair. They can never be a part of it. My other thought was, I wonder how many of these people that are opposed to this have volunteered years and years of hours and hours to make this county fair grow. And the time that I have been on it, I have never seen a decrease in the amount of people coming through that gate. There's an increase every year. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jody Shender, followed by Jesse Blackman.
Up there. I'm Jody Shenier. I'm a resident of the county. Is that better? I'm Jody Shenier. I'm a resident of the county, and I support the purchase of this property. I'm the director for Horse 4-H, and I would love to see the kids come back, or just be able to show during the Labor Day Fair. It has been more than 40 years, actually, since the kids
in horse 4-H have been allowed because of the space issues to be at the fair. Plus, we show 2 weeks in advance. In fact, they're showing currently, and we have to come back for for Labor Day fair as well to be counted. Anyway, that's really about it. I support the master plan. I support the North End's expansion. I'd love to see new barns built, new arenas built. It would help the fair, it would help the rodeo. It would bring in so many more events. We're central to the state. It would be amazing to have, this kind of built-on facility. And that's about it.
Thank you. Next, Jesse Blackwood, followed by C.L. Clark.
Hello, I'm Jessie Blackwood, and I'm a resident of Kittitas County. I have been since I was little. I've also been participating and going to the Kittitas County Fair since I was a little girl. And I was one of those horse participants back when my horse fair was 2 weeks before the fair because there wasn't enough space at the fair for our horses to come to the regular fair. I have been on the fair board now for 15 years. And since 2001, since I've joined the fair board, discussions and desires for the county fair board and the county and the event center to expand have been going on. And the desire to buy the Shady Acres property has been discussed since then. It was probably in discussion. I remember my dad talking about it before I became a member of the fair board. I support the purchase of the Shady Acres property. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, C.L. Clark, followed by Jeff Fultis.
Commissioners, I'm C.L. Clark, Kittitas County resident, also a fair board member, who is in charge of the beef division. I was a 4-H and FFA member when I was a child, and I showed both hogs and horses. And it was an opportunity to be able to be on the fairgrounds with both your horses and your hogs, and have that opportunity not to have to come in 2 weeks prior to, and then have to haul back with your hogs. I think it's fair to the children, and the children are our future. I support the purchase of this property, and I support it for our future, which is the youth of Kittitas County. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Jeff Fultis, followed by Bill Boyle.
Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm Jeff Fultis. I'm a lifelong resident of Kittitas County. I'm wearing 2 hats tonight, if you'll allow me. My first hat is I'm president of the Ellensburg Rodeo Association. And our Ellensburg Rodeo Board has authorized me to come up here and speak in favor of the Kittitas County Long Range Plan. We have been residents of tenants of Kittitas County for 4 days a year to host our rodeo since 1923. And I'm going to take off that rodeo hat and I'm going to put on my personal hat and just speak as Jeff Fultis resident. I know the Bartons. They're very nice folks. They've worked hard their whole life. They've made an investment in this piece of property, live the American dream, and they have an opportunity to sell this, and I believe that Kittitas County, as long as they have done their due diligence, which I believe both parties have, the seller and Kittitas County, to do what they can for these residents of Shady Brook, then I am personally in favor of that purchase. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bill Boyum, followed by Larry Laufer.
I'm Bill Boyum. I'm a resident of Kittitas County. The county has been directed over the last 20 years to do 2 comprehensive plans on the fairgrounds and look at the expansion of the property as needed to be able to grow the event that's mainly on Labor Day, but also for the event center over the long term. I supported the plans when they were made, and what I really support is that once a plan has been made, that it be supported by the county commissioners. So I strongly recommend that you carry out this portion, this recommendation in the long-range plan as presented. tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Larry Lawson, followed. We're going to have a slight pause for our translator. Are you ready, sir? All right. Hold on.
Are you ready?
We're waiting on our translator. Okay. I thank you for your patience. All right, we're good to go. Mr. Lawther, you will be followed by Hope Amazon.
My name is Larry Lawther. I'm a Kittitas County resident. And it seems to me that the justification for making this purchase by the county is that it's been in the master plan for a long time, that you went through a process to gauge public reaction, and that you can make use of it for enhancing the fairgrounds and rodeo and other events at the fairgrounds. I'd like to say first that a plan is not a straitjacket. It can be modified as additional information and insights come to the fore. It can be changed appropriately. Let me say further that I don't recall, as a long-time resident of this county, ever receiving any information, any request or a form to fill out that has to do with Shady Acres. And if I had received it, and maybe I did and just don't remember it, I would not have been able to make an intelligent response, because at that time I did not know what Shady Acres was, who lived there, or what kind of a community it was. I have since learned that it is a functioning neighborhood with a real sense of community, and that the majority of the residents are first-generation immigrants. And I think I pointed out to you in a previous letter that it is important to first-generation immigrants that they live together in a community in which their fellow residents, most of them, speak their language and are also familiar with their culture. This is a great support to them, and it should be considered important by the county commissioners. You have made it clear that you would not move these people until someplace is found that is affordable housing that they could move to. But I have not heard you speak to this other issue. That is the importance of community, of a functioning neighborhood, as a support primarily for first-generation immigrants. And I would like to hear your response to that. Do you consider this unimportant? That it is more important to have a parking lot there than it is to support the lives of some 30 families who are dependent upon this kind of community. And so unless you can move them to an area where they could be together as a community, it seems to me you would be doing them a great service. So please speak to us on that issue.
Thank you. Next, please, no applause. Next, Hope Anderson, and followed by River Milas.
Thank you very much, Commissioners, for hearing my comments. So I'm not a lifelong Ellensburg resident. I moved here only 6 years ago from Arkansas, but I feel like I share kinship with a lot of other residents who moved from Arkansas decades and decades ago in our history. And I am against this purchase. And I have a few comments on that. We gather here because our county commissioners are in the face of 4 months of protests across the county's political spectrum, bringing together Republicans and Democrats at a time where that's not happening across the country. And they're all committed to and this is because the county's commissioners are committed to finalizing the Shady Acres purchase today. They will thus initiate what we consider to be an unethical process that will destroy a vibrant city neighborhood. Every day, we learn of new health challenges experienced by the residents, including high anxiety by the children who know they are likely to be torn from the community they cherish. Their parents, who are among the most vulnerable people in the county, have diligently searched for comparable housing options without success. CC Consulting, the company that is costing taxpayers $50,000, admits that they don't have any solutions either. How can anyone take comfort in the Commissioner's assurance that a solution will be found when they still haven't produced a credible plan to fix a crisis of their own making? 30 families are being put out through unimaginable stress, all for the purposes of perhaps an RV park, perhaps something else. Many are deeply troubled by the extravagant $1.45 million purchase this will cost taxpayers. Some suspect that ethnic and class bias, perhaps unconscious, is driving the destruction and dispersion of a low-income, overwhelmingly minority community. Amidst this bleak picture, there are rays of hope. Many in the broader community have generously embraced the Shady Acres families. Diverse church congregations have joined together in neighborhood prayer vigils, standing in solidarity with those whose homes are threatened. Week after week, people from all backgrounds and walks of life give public comment at government meetings, pleading that mercy and rationality will prevail. Youth Services recently hosted a beautiful show of children's art from the community. Gallery 1 has had a display on the faces of Shady Acres, featuring documentary photographs. Many Shady Acres children are now attending the Keene Environmental Summer Camp on scholarship, learning about aquatic and terrestrial ecosystems and making new friends. Let's follow the example of these many friends of Shady Acres. Let's find a humane solution to keep residents in their own homes, perhaps through the Housing Authority or a resident-owned cooperative. Let us make proud once again the Kittitas County and help create a beloved community that is diverse and welcome to all across all lines of race and ethnicity. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ms. River Milos, followed by Carol Miller Rhodes.
I'm River Milos, I'm from Upper County, and I have a real objection to our county tax dollars being used to put citizens out of their homes. I am opposed to this plan, and I will be voting accordingly. I keep hearing about how long this plan has been in the works and how terrible Shady Acres is and what condition. I can't help but wonder, if this was in the plan that long, why did that be allowed to continue? Why wasn't the zoning rezoned? If it was in our master plan to do that, to put people out of their houses, then maybe it should have been rezoned, and people shouldn't have been allowed to sink their hardened dollars into living there. And that's pretty much all I got to say. So I'll be voting accordingly.
Thank you. Next is Ms. Carol Miller Rhodes, followed by Nancy Brandon.
Thank you. My name is Carol Miller Rhodes. I am a lifelong resident of Ellensburg. One thing an adult learns early in life is that the best laid plans don't always come to fruition. Kittitas County Board of Commissioners are positioned now to purchase Shady Acres and are hell-bent on making the plan come to fruition for an event center, which was initially planned sometime in the late 90s. The reality and eventuality will result in the closure and dismantling of the Shady Acres Mobile Home Park. And I emphasize home because these are homeowners, many are. But this plan is just a plan, a dream for a grand event center. I ask, is the plan more important than the people, the families, the children, the elderly, and the disabled who reside there? This particular piece of property will become a proposed home to an estimated 30 to 35 mobile home parking spots. Motor homes have traditionally been parked in property only about 2 blocks from the current north entrance of the rodeo arena. It's not perfect, but the restrooms at the ball field are open and most of the RVs are self-contained. Are RV spots more important than people? I would also question, if this was the plan in 1997, how come there were never plans for relocation of those trailers or other solutions for residents of Shady Acres? Shouldn't that have been addressed in the original plan in 1997? People were living there then. Why did it only become an issue after the announcement of the proposed purchase? There were people residing there back in 1997. Not a single mention in that plan. Additionally, the proposal for the elimination of Shady Acres is in direct opposition with the county Homeless Prevention and Reduction Plan, otherwise known as the 10-year plan updated in 2009, and I quote, "Preservation of existing affordable housing stock in Kittitas County is a priority.
We have experienced significant increases in rental and home ownership costs, particularly in the past few years when housing costs have increased dramatically. And I also quote, "Rehabilitation of affordable housing is an important strategy. Residential rehabilitation assistance should be available to provide small grants to homeowners and to landlords to help them fix up their properties and retain them as safe, decent, affordable housing. Mobile homes are a significant source of affordable housing in Kittitas County." The Commissioners' own Homeless and Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, as chaired by Laura Sadich, has gone on the record as being opposed to the purchase of Shady Acres. The committee is comprised of community members, civic, volunteers, and professionals who are impassioned about serving disenfranchised populations. These individuals work tirelessly to develop housing opportunities for people, write 10-year plans, and vet the applications for grant funding that is afforded the county through collection of filing fees provided by 2163 and 2060 funds, specifically designated for homeless and affordable housing solutions.
Wrap up your thoughts.
Thank you. However, time and time again, I have watched the BOCC completely disregard the committee's recommendations. They know the reality that is affordable housing. And I will close with this remark. We sometimes forget the popular adage and phrase from John Bradford, "There by the grace go I." If Shady Acre goes, who goes next? Will it be me? Will it be you? Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ms. Nan Doolittle, followed by Carl Nelson.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for hearing my comments. I do not support the purchase of Shady Acres Mobile Home Park by the County of Kittitas. I agree that the Bartons have every right to sell their property. I am concerned that the Bartons may have been misguided. Lowell Kruger of the Kittitas County Housing Authority has mentioned several times that the Housing Authority is willing and able to arrange the purchase of Shady Acres. By working with the Housing Authority, the Bartons would save money, maybe thousands of dollars, by not having to pay excise tax on the sale of their mobile home park. The Housing Authority would not use the county taxpayers' money, and I am a resident of Kittitas County, and by the way, my family has lived here since the 1890s, and also been involved in the fair many times. The Housing Authority would not use the taxpayers' money to purchase Shady Acres, nor will we have to pay for the removal of a healthy and viable neighborhood, relocating families, and the costs associated with putting in an RV parking lot or something else. Again, I do not support the purchase of Shady Acres Mobile Home Park by the County of Kittitas. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is for Carl Nelson, followed by Rob Frazier.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here tonight. I'd like to begin by saying I think it's unfortunate that this is framed as Shady Acres residents versus the event center and fairgrounds. Fairgrounds are a necessary and beloved part of this community. I am
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, point of order, please.
Yeah, you need to address us, not the crowd.
Thank you.
Fair enough. I believe that the framing of this as Shady Acres versus the fairgrounds is really unfair. And the fairgrounds are not at risk. They are well supported, and rightly so. There's a $20 million budget for the fairgrounds and event center going forward. It's a well-funded, and this is not something that we should frame as this is a dire decision that has dire consequences for the fairgrounds as such. I do appreciate that people here have a commitment and a love of the fairgrounds and the 4-H. All grew up in that, raising animals myself. But to be fair, we're talking about families and people. And there is a question as to how we're going to find homes and how we're going to protect this community. One of the qualities of leadership is the ability to look at a plan as it evolves, recognize if you're on a correct course or not. The qualities of leadership is to say, we're on a bad course here. This isn't the right way to go. And to be able to have that character of turning that around. This process feels like a decision made. This doesn't feel like a process that's really here to listen. This public hearing coming way late in the game. And I think that that's going to be very visible to the community as a whole. I would challenge this board to reconsider this decision, show their quality as leaders, and take into account that this plan is 10 years old. It does not have a plan for how to relocate these people, how to finance it, although this has been bobbled around lately. And it does not take into account the crisis of affordable housing in the community today. As has been pointed out, there are other plans to consider. The plan for how to protect against homelessness and the need for affordable housing. We're going to go directly in contrast to the plan that the county has to address affordable housing and to prevent homelessness. That plan is a plan that needs to be considered as well. And you're in direct contrast to that plan. So I would ask this board to display the qualities of leadership that can take this public hearing for a real hearing, not something that's just been decided in your head, not just an act to go through. The citizens of this county are relying on you to take this process seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Rob Frazier, followed by Guadalupe Hezron.
I'm Rob Frazier, resident of Kittitas County. I've been on the record. You know how I feel about this. I'd rather not be civil. But I just have a couple things to say. Most of the people tonight that are for selling have mentioned the appraisal. They've mentioned that they're worried that a private owner will come in and take it over and basically rape the land without saying the word rape. The appraisal that you were given said best use of this land, best way to make money off this land is to keep it as it is. Keep it as low-income housing. You can bring in new trailers. You can, But anyway, no private owner is going to buy this land and kick these families off it because it's the best way to make some money. So don't worry about that. And then one other thing I've heard tonight is we need to buy this property for the children of 4-H. Now there's an irony there because we have almost 60 children living in Shady Acres. 60 children. So I don't know why they would be worried about children when there are already children to worry about. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Following Guadalupe Hezron is Rodrigo de la Rosa.
Thank you. I was going to correct you on the pronunciation of my name, Guadalupe Huitron. Thank you. The second time sounded better.
That was close.
Yes. Again, my name is Guadalupe Huitron, and I am resident of Kittitas County. My father, Carlos Huitron, and my mother, Margarita Gomez Huitron, are residents of Shady Acres. Today, I speak on behalf of the community coalition known as the Friends of Shady Acres. We urge the Board of County Commissioners to follow the recommendations of its own Homelessness and Affordable Housing Committee, a recommendation unanimously supported by the Ellensburg City Council to work with other entities such as the Housing Authority or ROC Northwest, the leading resident-owned cooperative nonprofit in our region, to let over 30 resident families remain in Shady Acres with an affordable housing solution. The Bartons will be paid the value of their property, and the Shady Acres residents will be able to remain safely in their homes which are owned by at least 22 families. We would like to remind the commissioners that the appropriation and purchase is clearly taking place and contrary to the will of the voters. In the recent primary in which Shady Acres was arguably the preeminent campaign issue, the majority of voters in both District 1 and 2 voted for candidates opposed to the Shady Acres purchase. Together, when added together, the Republicans, 2 independents, and a Democrat all vigorously campaigned on the platform that the event center expansion plan has not been properly vetted by the residents of Shady Acres, and all called for slowing down the cost and the pace of the event center expansion. The dubious claim has been based on the claim that the event plan center is the will of the people is based on a poorly designed survey, which had only 4% return. The survey did not consult the community themselves. No one was reached out to in the language that they speak and write in predominantly, which is Spanish. In any event, no one filling out the survey had any indication that favorably ranking the affordable housing question would lead to the coerced max eviction of over 30 highly vulnerable families. So there is simply no foundation for the claim that the purchase and mass eviction plan are in keeping with the will and desires of the county residents. Mr. Paul Jewell, Commissioner Jewell, repeatedly said that the event center needs an RV park to be viable. But city planners now tell us that they see no reasonable likelihood that the Shady Acres property can be zoned as commercial tourist, the legal category under which an RV park can be built within the city boundaries. City officials assure us that the only other viable route under which an RV park is to be rezoned is to a public reserve.
Please finish your thoughts.
Great. I just want to say that the mass eviction done of this community is under the auspice of a greater affordable housing crisis in this county. I ask that you consider the highly vulnerable community that currently resides at Shady Acres, and do we need to move? And I thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Rodrigo de la Rosa, followed by Susie Weiss.
Mi nombre es Rodrigo de la Rosa, yo soy presidente y vengo representando a las familias de Shady Acres.
My name is Rodrigo de la Rosa, I'm a resident and I am here.
Excuse me.
Mr. Coleman, do you mind handing me your microphone?
That'll make it a little easier for you, sir. Thank you.
My name is Rodrigo de la Rosa. My name is Rodrigo de la Rosa. I'm a resident and I'm here representing the residents of Shady Acres.
Bueno, yo vivo allí en Shady Acres y he estado por mucho tiempo. He visto cómo la feria, al menos las familias que viven allí, las hemos esperado año con año, nos hemos divertido.
I've been a resident of Shady Acres for many years, and we've lived there as families, and we've had enjoyment throughout the years seeing the fair come by.
Pero pienso que este año va a ser muy diferente para todas estas familias que viven allí en Shady Acres, porque creo que les va a costar su hogar.
I think it's going to be very different this year for the families that are residing there at Shady Acres, because I believe it's going to cost them their home.
Para que esta feria crezca.
So that this fair can grow.
Y eso es de gran impacto para todas estas familias que estamos viviendo ahí.
That is a major impact on all of these families that live there.
Personas que por muchos años han trabajado para tener lo que tienen ahí.
Persons that have lived for many years to have what they have gotten there.
Y que realmente es difícil asimilar toda esta situación.
It is really very difficult to assimilate this whole situation.
Porque aunque existiera un lugar a donde nos movieran, ¿quién va a pagar por todo el esfuerzo y todo el empeño que hemos puesto para los hogares donde vivimos?
Because even though there would be a place in existence where we could be moved to, who's going to pay for all that effort, for all that money and time that we spent so that we can live where we are living now?
Y eso es difícil para todas estas familias, ver que todo su esfuerzo de muchos años puede cambiar.
That is something very difficult for all of us families to see that all this effort that took many years to accomplish can change.
De alguna u otra manera, esto, como quieran verlo, nos va a afectar en todos los sentidos.
One way or another, this is going to have an effect in every way possible on all of us.
Sí, sí me gustaría que reconsideraran ese paso que van a dar, y si lo llegaran a dar, que realmente vieran todas las necesidades que estas familias tienen y que están viviendo ahí, porque es el único medio que tienen para adaptarse a esta ciudad.
I would really ask that you reconsider the decision that you're going to make to purchase this property, and if the purchase goes through, then to think very closely on the effect that's going to be brought on all these people, and to find a way to help them through this situation.
Y así como se ha mencionado que están preocupados por los niños, sí, en Shady Acres también hay niños que están discapacitados también, y hay personas que están discapacitadas también. Pienso que esas personas necesitan también de atención y mucha ayuda.
I've heard a lot of concern over children's welfare. Well, there are a lot of children that are in Shady Acres now that need that attention. Children that are disabled. There are adults that are disabled that are there also that can use the attention and help that is being mentioned.
Y realmente piensen si realmente el proyecto, el gran proyecto que tienen, vale la pena pagar el precio de todas estas familias que van a perder sus hogares si esto se llega a hacer realidad.
Think it through carefully if this major plan that you're mentioning is a major plan that takes into consideration the needs of all these families. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Susie Weiss, followed by Kelly Connor.
Good evening. I'm Susie Weiss. I'm a 40-year resident of Upper Kittitas County. And I'm here because I'm definitely opposed to this. But I'm really, I was, how do I want to say, interested that the rodeo board and the fair board are here and expressing their concerns for something that they believe in strongly, that they've been involved in. And it's interesting to me that they're talking about the comfort of the swines and the cows and the 2 weeks for the horse show and everything. And I'm in the Upper County. We have homeless people in the Upper County. They live in the woods. And we have a housing problem in the Upper County, really bad. And I'm appalled that you would spend $1.45 million on an RV park, force people out of their homes when we have a major homeless problem that's existing in the county, all over the county. And I understand that in the Upper County it's a seasonal problem. They leave in the wintertime, but they're in the woods. And I work with people that feed these people. And it's a very sad situation. And I'm sorry if I don't care if the swines are crammed and the cows are not comfortable. I'm more concerned about those families up there. I'm more concerned about these families. This is like, where are your priorities here, people? We have people that are in need. And when you're talking about children, I mean, yes, 4-H is a wonderful program, and dealing with animals is a wonderful thing. But what you're doing to these children is a sin. And the fact of the matter is that this started in April. This is our first public meeting. This is sad and irresponsible. You need to have a meeting in the Upper County as well to really hear the people of the Upper County. They're not happy about this situation. They do not want their tax dollars used in this way. This is ripping us off. I'm a firefighter. This last winter, we had snow so bad we could not get to scenes in the Lake Cleon area because the roads weren't plowed. Could you please just take care of the roads first before you worry about if the cows and the swines are taken care of?
Please, no applause. Let's move forward. Next is Ms. Kelly Connor, and followed by, I can't tell if Diana, well, we'll drop down to Brett Hall. Go ahead.
Good evening, Kelly Connor. Yes, I'm a Kittitas County resident. I'm still wearing my selfish outside agitator t-shirt because I paid $12.99 for it, and even though Laura did apologize for the comment, I'm getting my money's worth. I'm frugal. So a couple things concern me that I heard this evening. Number one, I'd like to do some checking in to see if it was, if it's actually legal for all the rodeo board members to be, well, it's got to be a quorum unless there's like 50 members on the board, to all participate in a public hearing. I was kind of questioning that. I found it kind of reckless and appalling when the little finance gal was talking about, oh, it's okay, you can spend up to $74 million without voter approval. Do you really think that's okay? If I've got a $30,000 credit limit, do you think it's wise that I go up to $29,995? I don't think so. There's a lot of talk about how generous the county is being with these families and trying to relocate them. I defy you to tell us right here this evening that it's possible. In 1997, when you all created this master plan, which sounds really evil, by the way, you could have moved those trailers then before they've sat another 20 years and become glued to the ground. You've also allowed, since signing this agreement with the Bartons, to have at least 2 purchases of trailers on those properties. Now, are the Bartons looking at being sued for failure to disclose that there was an agreement in process? Because obviously the families didn't find out about it until after it was publicized, thankfully, in the newspaper. I think it's dangerous and I think it's reckless. You know, this poor little mama on the end here has, you know, little boys and little girls. She needs at least a 3-bedroom apartment to be qualified under federal housing assistance. And let's not sugarcoat this. It's not affordable housing. Unfortunately, for most of these people, it's low-income housing. You can afford a different house than I can afford, than they can afford. That's the wrong word to use. Let's not be politically correct on that regard. These people don't have any other choice. There is not any low-income housing that can afford all of these people to move to. I think it's shameful. I think it's irresponsible. And if you've got a master plan that's looking at spending that much money of our tax dollars, you say that it's not raising taxes. Well, what do you think fees are? It's a cozy little way of taxing people without them knowing it and without calling it that dreaded 3-letter word that starts with a T. Fees are taxes. Real estate excise tax fees, the distress sales tax fee, which you guys didn't announce that you withdrew your application for those funds, because that's where you planned on spending it, until the city of Ellensburg grabbed some cojones and said, no thank you, we're not going to allow this. Anyway, go ahead and vote yes on it, and then polish off your resume, because November's right around the corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask this the last time. Please do not respond and with cheers or applause or boos or anything about someone says. I have removed people from public hearings in the past, and if necessary, I will do it again. That is your last warning. Please do not react that way.
My name is Brett Holler. I moved to Ellensburg in 1988. I got married here. I raised 2 kids here. I've started a business here. I serve on the Fair Board. I serve on the 4-H Council. I'm a 4-H leader. And I'm heavily involved in 4-H. I keep hearing things over the last few months of, we don't need to spend money at the fairgrounds. The fairgrounds loses money. The fairgrounds is empty all the time. If you're saying those kind of things, you don't come up here very often. Yes, the fairgrounds expenses are higher than its income. Most county fairgrounds honestly are. But in recent years, the deficit has become smaller. The benefit the fairgrounds brings to the committee outweighs the cost of what the fairgrounds is. Besides the income that it creates for restaurants, hotels, clothing stores, grocery stores, hardware stores, and many other businesses, the fairgrounds is used for many different things. One of the biggest contributions to that is the youth activities. The youth are extremely important, and they are a feature, and I know that you were talking about youth on both sides of this. But the 4-H has, and I checked this with the active record books that were turned in for fair, have 414 active members in 4-H. That's not counting maybe possibly about 600 that started the year. That's the ones that finished the year along with over 96 adult leaders. That's over 500 people that use the fairgrounds regularly, probably at least once a month, if not more than that. And most of them come fair time or pretty much live down here. And that's not counting FFA, college rodeos, and other clubs that use the fairgrounds. Our youths are important. And without the fairgrounds, there would be no place to have these kind of activities. All you have to do is go look out here, all the camp trailers down here, and I know that people are concerned about things, but you know, the horse fair, they're having horse fair because they don't, like I said, don't have room to do horse fair during fair, so they do it 2 weeks for free. The fairgrounds does need to grow. It's, you know, and I know there's a master plan, and everybody says plans change. Doesn't mean they have to either. This is the property has been looked at for years. So if you're hearing people say that they don't think that you should spend money at the fairgrounds, I don't believe they're the majority of the people. I believe you should purchase Shady Brook. I believe it's a major piece to the Kittitas County Event Center Master Plan. When I moved here in 1988, there was 3 things I knew about Ellensburg. It was Central Washington University was here. It stunk because Shockey's meatpacking plant was down by the freeway, and it had a great fair and a great rodeo. And that's what we're known for, is the Ellensburg Rodeo and Kittitas County Fair. And even if you choose not to attend it or support it, you can't live in Kittitas County and not benefit from what the rodeo and the fair bring to this county. So I believe that you should support the purchase of the Shady Brook mobile home. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the end of the list of people who had signed up to speak. That's not the end of people. If you wish to speak, just please come to the microphone. Again, give me your name and address. Okay. Mr. Bozinski and I had skipped Ron McClellan wanted to speak, so I apologize if you'll follow. All right. Thank you very much.
Commissioners, good evening. My name is Ron McClellan. I'm a 32-year resident of Ellensburg with over 10 years at Shady Acres. I worked at such companies as Don Williams Contract Carriers, Okanagan Seattle Transport, in the last 10 years at International Aviation in Anchorage, Alaska. I have 42 years of commercial driving experience. I have logged over 4,200,000 miles. I became disabled in 2012 with multiple operations and still need more surgeries on my back. With Medicare and Assurance Health, I still have a $6,700 a year out-of-pocket cost, which I am trying to save up for. I'm getting to the point I can't hardly walk. With a car payment and health insurance, I can't afford to pay any more for rent on a fixed income. The point I'm trying to make, Commissioners, is that we all struggled to pay these trailers off so we could have a somewhat affordable living lifestyle. If you Commissioners can't come up with an affordable solution, you are taking away our dream. Also, I have a 2015 Washington State Housing Needs Assessment of Kittitas County. You got a must household earn to afford rent around here is a fair market rent is $603 for 1 person, 1 bedroom. Required income, $24,120. Okay, for a fair market rent for 4 people, 3 bedrooms, required income, $42,560. To me, this doesn't sound good. You don't have any affordable housing. I think it really should be something that should be looked at before you started all this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Blazinski is next, and whoever else would like to speak, if they'll come up and be in the waiting area.
Good evening, Sam Blazinski, resident of Cadillac County. I would like to challenge the board for one thing. In your decision approving the purchase, state please your legal authorities why you are entitled to provide mass entertainment at taxpayers' expense. I'm a little bit of a legal researcher. I tried to find, so if you please kindly state the legal authorities under which you are entitled to provide entertainment for horses and ducks and other creatures. I would appreciate that. Another thing is, after watching that presentation here, Mr. Commissioner Joel, I requested a copy of the survey that was sent out to 15,000 residents of Cadillac County. I did not receive it. There was no single mention in that survey of purchase of Shady Acres. It was a survey about the fair and the rodeo. There was not a word Shady Acre purchase, anything of that matter. So please do not mislead people until the very last moment. Another thing is, what concerns me, what was the reason for the negotiations to be kept secret for 1 year? Are you representatives of people? Or you need to hide something? I don't know. Looks like you are hiding something from your constituents. So, November is coming. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jared Fudez. I'm a lifelong resident of Kittitas County, and I also serve on the County Fair Board. I'm an alumni of the 4-H program. I served 10 years in sheep 4-H, and in those years, I experienced being in Bloom Pavilion, and then we moved over into the old beef section of the barns. The 4-H program has constraints on it based on the room we have here at the fairgrounds for livestock pens and that, and it's hard to grow that program if we don't have adequate room, and the Shady Acres proposal for purchase is a big part of expanding our 4-H program. My mother was also in 4-H back in the day, and in that day, it wasn't called the Junior 4-H Horse Fair, it was a pre-show which then would qualify people to come to fair to show their horses because of constraints on room. I support the purchase of Shady Acres. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Harrison. I'm a resident of Kittitas County. I've lived here since '97, so far from lifelong. Listening this evening, I have some concerns and some questions and a request to the commissioners to hold off on your decision. There have been a lot of statements made, pro and con. The gentleman who just spoke, and many other people who have spoken previously this evening, talk about the need for the space at Shady Acres for livestock. Now, I haven't heard that as part of the master plan. All that me as a general public person has heard is that it could be a parking lot or an RV park. The 4-H supporters and the fair supporters seem to be saying that it is a place to expand for animals. If that's the case, then I think the commissioners need to come forward with a little bit more detail about what this plan really is. One of the speakers commented about the Upper County not having an opportunity to have any real input and not have a public forum, a public hearing like this. I think before the commissioners make a decision, since you represent the entire county, there needs to be a public hearing in the Upper County. I heard comments that it was unfortunate that this public hearing waited until the very last moment when you're ready to make a decision. I think that also is unfortunate. And I think that even though you have a plan that apparently has been ongoing for a very long time, there are a lot of us who have not had input into the plan, who were not aware until it hit the papers that the plan meant moving families, men, women, children, homes out of what is currently their community. So I just ask you to step back a little bit, give people an opportunity to discuss this further with you and not make the decision to go forward with the purchase this evening. Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to come and address the Board of County Commissioners?
I'm not good at public speaking. My name is Raven Garcia.
Really close, please.
I'm shaking.
Now you broke it.
You can hold it.
I'm sorry, I don't talk in large groups. My name is Raven Garcia. I live in Shady Brook. I've heard that, I appreciate the fact that the county wants to buy our homes, you know, to expand the fairgrounds, that it may be good for the community and whatnot, but I can't help, you know, you can't help but be concerned for the people. Like, not everybody has options of what they're gonna do. I've heard that there's going to be, you know, the county wants to help homeowners. What about renters? I took, the day after I found out that the sale was going to go through, I went to the housing authority and I applied, hoping that we could get into something in time. Sorry, I'm shaking. I filled out the application and I spoke to the lady and I handed it in and she told me, you know, she's like, I don't want to beat around the bush. She's like, but the family of your size, you're only qualified for a 4-bedroom. We only have 4 homes that have 4 bedrooms. And in the 8 years that I have worked here, I've become twice. I don't know where our family is going to go. Sorry, I don't like public speaking. I know that I'm not the only family that has these concerns. So I beg you guys to reconsider, to do something to help the you know, something, reconsider, put the event center somewhere else. You know, we're in this situation, not only are we a community, you know, I adore everybody that I live around. You know, our children have grown up together. I got married in that trailer park. And number 1, we had a backyard barbecue, you know, as a reception when my neighbors and stuff became, and we brought the babies home there. You know, there's some memories. It's a community. And you know, the thought that that's going to be demolished to turn into a parking lot, you know, and not knowing where you're going to take your family or what's going to happen or, you know, where everybody's going to go, it's difficult. So I thank you guys to please reconsider, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry, I don't like public speaking, but
Hello, my name is Lucy Temple, and I'm a resident of Upper County. Lucy Temple, resident of Clay Alum. I've been in the county for 20 years. I've been listening to the testimony tonight, and I'm curious about the comments on the relationship of programs like 4-H to an RV park that's going to displace dozens of families. So I was curious, having recently adopted 2 guinea pigs from the 4-H program that were discarded. What is 4-H? Well, right here in its mission, it states that it empowers young people to lead for a lifetime. Our programs in science, healthy living, and citizenship are backed by a network of ... volunteers and professionals. Through hands-on learning, kids build not only confidence, creativity, and curiosity, but also life skills such as leadership and resiliency to help them thrive today and tomorrow. Perhaps if our Board of Commissioners took from the mission of the 4-H children, they would not be considering something that a group of children would not vote for because it is unethical, unkind, and unreasonable. Thank you.
Again, is there anyone else who would like to come speak to the Board of County Commissioners? Yes, sir, come ahead.
Thank you for allowing me to stand up and speak. My name is Nick Colley-Murphy. I'm a lifetime resident in Kittitas County. I'm going to apologize for my attire. I wasn't planning on speaking until I got here.
What was your last name again?
Colley-Murphy.
Colley-Murphy?
Colley-Murphy. Typinated, 2 of them. Right. Okay, so sorry, again, I wasn't planning on speaking tonight until I heard some things that were said. So, 2 points I kind of got out of tonight, okay? I was a 4-H'er and stuff, everything, okay? Raised dogs, been all over the fairgrounds, love it. I support what these people want to do, okay? They want to expand it. I get that part. That's great. I also feel for these people. Guadalupe's brother was in my grade. He was one of my best friends in high school, so I feel for that. The plan to expand, it's not a plan. It's half a plan. It seems to be a good half a plan, but it's only half a plan. Okay, let's be honest. It's half a plan. You have to have a plan to get all these people to wherever they want to be. Okay? One of the first people to speak tonight talked about the importance of community. They need to be together, or as many of them as possibly can be together in a spot. Okay? I don't think they would necessarily mind moving. I don't mean to put words in people's mouths, but I don't think they do. But what they need is not a promise that there's going to be a plan. They need a blueprint on that screen. We want to know how big bathrooms are going to be, how big bedrooms are going to be. Put something up there. Whether it's already built and you're going to move them in there or build something new, put it up there. Okay? The other part of this is, if it's been on the plan for 40 or 20 years or however long people are talking about, I think you can wait like 2 more years. 6 more months. Doesn't have to be made now. Okay? The nice gentleman who owns it has owned it this long. I don't think he's going to mind owning it just a little bit longer. Okay? Right? Take your time. Okay? And this is why. This is the second part. This is why. This is a tone-setting decision. Okay? This isn't just about how you guys are going to be remembered in this county. Other county commissioners around the state, in the country, will look to the kinds of decisions you make here to help them make similar decisions about displacing low-income families for the interest of a larger community. It's a tone-setting decision. You need to understand how big this could be. The kinds of people, how far away are going to hear about this and say, well, those people did it that way. Okay, so I'm not trying to tell you to decide one way or another, but you have to understand that that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight on your shoulders. It's a big decision. Okay? And I know you guys can do it. A lot of people will come up here, cynical, angry, putting you guys on the spot, and for good reason. Passionate people, it's a big deal. You guys are elected leaders. You got into this for a reason, right? You want to help people, do the right thing and stuff. Okay? This is it. This is the big chance. Okay? Take your time. It doesn't have to be decided tonight. If there's no decision made, I think everybody would reasonably okay with that. It's a big deal. People are going to hear about this all sorts of places. You're going to be known for it for a long time. Your name's going to be associated with this decision for a long time. And not just here, but it's gonna follow you around, okay? So, you're elected leaders, you're smart people, you can't not be, right? You can figure this out. There's 6 of you, you're gonna do great. Figure it out, and best of luck. Thank you.
I'm Michelle Culley. I'm a resident of Kittitas County. I've lived here since 1990, and I'm a community health nurse. I make visits to Shady Acres. I visit those homes, and when I go home at night, I live in fear that my son's fire department pager will go off and tell me that there's a fire at Shady Acres or one of the other mobile parks in our county. It is a huge, huge danger. So when I heard about the sale, I thought, wow, here is an opportunity for our county to step up and provide quality housing for families that we value in our community. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for the county to be that showpiece. But what we have to do is slow down and come up with that plan, because my dream is you will buy a piece of property big enough to put 30 new units on that will be safe for families. There will not be the fear of a fire in one home that will quickly spread to other homes, where we don't go in there and fall through the floor, not because the person doesn't care, not because they haven't taken care of their home, but those homes are so hard to get into. And I go there and I see them on a consistent basis. And these people love their homes and they take as good care as they possibly can of their homes. And I'm very proud of them. I'm proud of their parenting. I'm proud of their unity. And I really didn't understand, even as someone who's worked in community health for many years here, until this started, I didn't understand how much these families supported each other. And we don't want to break up that community. We want to give this community an option to live somewhere. And I totally agree this is an opportunity for you to showcase that. I also totally support the growth of the fairgrounds. I've been a 4-H leader in this county for over 20 years until I moved on to something else. I know how important that is. I know all of that, but I think we can have both, and I think with your leadership, we'll have that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'm about to say last call. All right, seeing no one coming to the podium, no one waving a hand, I will go ahead and close this public testimony portion of this public hearing. Commissioners, you have heard testimony, and what is your wish?
Well, I'd like to start discussion. Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Please pull the microphone close.
I'd like to start the discussion, Mr. Chairman, so I'll begin with the motion. I move that the county authorize funding and move to closing, granting authority to the chairman to sign the closing documents, further stating that we intend to seek financing and to repay the purchase price through those means, meeting the requirements that the budget and finance manager, Ms. Pless, stated in her presentation at the very beginning.
Commissioner Jewell, part of the requirement is an official intent or declaration. Is that included in your motion?
Yes, that was the second portion of that.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for proceeding forward with deciding the finance, for declaring official intent for the requirement for financing to purchase Shady Acres, also known as Shady Brook. Discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I may begin the discussion, just a couple of things. I won't take everybody's time up a lot, but I just want to, I think, address two major things and then two minor things. First of all, heard a lot of comments tonight, especially towards the end about timing being important, and I couldn't agree more with that. There's a lot of timing issues that we're dealing with here. As we know, this potential purchase has been a consideration and in the plans for decades. As we know, and as has been stated here tonight, it's been in the works through negotiation and evaluation and other things for nearly 2 years. As we know, the county signed a purchase and sale agreement in April, and the potential closing date of that purchase and sale agreement is considered, or is estimated to be September 9th, which is why we find ourselves here today. It's also been mentioned that, what's the rush? And that there really isn't a plan yet for relocation of the residents, and I couldn't agree with that more. Which is why the county has taken the position that we're not in a hurry to send out the notice of closure of the mobile home park. The county is taking a long-term view as far as this acquisition goes and relocation assistance for the residents. We are committed, I'm committed, I guess I won't speak for the other board members, but I'm sure they'll share this sentiment. I'm committed to finding some long-term solution that provides safe and affordable housing options for the current residents of the Shady Brook Mobile Home Park. I've been on record saying that several times. I'll say it again, and as many of you know, I've been active in pursuing those options and will remain active. There is an opportunity here. There's an opportunity in many ways that has really raised the awareness of affordable housing needs in our community, and I think it's something we should take advantage of. The last speaker, I'll quote her, stated, "I think we can have both. I think we can have both as well." I believe that's right. I believe we can have expansion of the fairgrounds and we can have affordable housing options for the current residents. Now, that being said, I just want to address a couple of issues that we were asked about. Number one, this notion, this concept, this expression that we've heard over the last couple of months, and I think it was spoken of first by, let me grab my notes really quickly here. It was spoken of first tonight by Mr. Lowther, if I'm not mistaken, that this is a community and these residents depend on one another, and they would prefer to be relocated as a unit. I think that's a wonderful sentiment, and I've said this before and I'll say it again as well. We will work and look at options that provide that opportunity, but it may not be something that we can actually realistically provide. We'll work towards that end, but that's not a promise that I think the county can really make. Finally, it was also brought up a couple of times by a couple of speakers tonight about this concept of the housing authority purchasing the property. And we've heard that several times, and it's been mentioned in other public meetings about when testimony has been provided about this potential purchase. As you know, we approached the Bartons about that option. I sat in a meeting with their representatives and I specifically offered them the opportunity to pursue that. I told them, look, if that's something that you're interested in doing, I provided them with the letter that was provided to us about that. I think it was from the Friends of Shady Acres that making this offer. I presented them with that letter. I said, if you're interested in pursuing that and relieving yourself of the current purchase and sale agreement with the county, we can discuss that. It's something that the county would certainly entertain. I received a letter the same day back from the Bartons rejecting that. They were very, very clear in that it's their intent to sell to the county and they expected us to fulfill our obligations under the purchase and sale agreement. So they've made their intentions known, the county's made its intentions known. We're in this for the long haul. We're not in a hurry to close the mobile home park. It's time to make the decision for the purchase. I'll be voting yes to support the motion. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to say a couple of things. I guess first of all, most of you know this became something that became the topic of conversations at most of our agenda meetings and public meetings shortly after I was appointed to this position as Kittitas County Commissioner number 2 in April. And I have spent countless hours going back and forth in my head, looking at the different pros and cons to each different scenario, and trying to decide what is the best decision for Kittitas County. And it's not an easy decision to make, especially for somebody that, like me, that cares so deeply about this county and the people living within this county. And I'm sure none of you will actually ever know how much I do care about the people of this county and the area we live in. But I'm telling you, it's a lot. I do believe there is, one of the things I've really been working on, and I've developed some really good relationships through my role as the chairman on the Homeless and Affordable Housing Committee, is to come up with solutions so this can be a win for everybody. And I do believe deep down in my heart that this is a solution that the purchase of the Shady Brook Mobile Home Park and working with private industry, or not industry, but private landowners and the different resources within our county, we can work together with the citizens of the Shady Brook Mobile Home Park to find solutions that will work for the various families. I guess there's a couple of other just points I wanted to discuss, and or just, I guess, a commitment, and I can't speak for the other county commissioners, but I personally am committed to not giving notice to the mobile home park for closure until there is a plan in place that will be suitable to all of the residents that live there. However, there's a lot of things that need to happen for that to come to fruition, and one of that's building relationships. And I know, myself and some of the other commissioners have pleaded to talk with the citizens that live within Shady Acres to see what we can do to specifically help you. And I have yet to have that conversation. Because I care so much, it bothers me that I haven't actually had the opportunity to speak to a resident that is specifically affected by this decision. So all as I can go off of is the research that I've done and public comment. But the people is what's really important to me. The expansion of the fairgrounds I do think is important. I think that in society things evolve over time, and this is something that has been in the plan for a very long time. There's been a lot of public process to develop the plan and update the plan, which was just adopted recently for the updated version of the master plan. And I feel that there is a solution here that can be mutually beneficial to the fairgrounds, the event center, the people of Kittitas County, as well as the people that reside within the Shady Brook Mobile Home Park. That's it. Thank you.
I will close with these comments. In that I wrote down a number of questions, some of them answered subsequently, but there's a couple of them that you need to know. One question was actually a newer one. Why did not the county move these trailers before now? And the answer to that is they're not ours. We don't own them yet. They're owned by someone else. Even the dirt underneath is owned by the Bartons. So until we actually purchase it, there was no opportunity for us to do anything at all before now. To address the idea that affordable housing is something that we're not aware of, I will give you a little bit of information. I have been involved actively in affordable housing for 15 years. The past governor and the current governor have assigned me to represent Eastern Washington in a whole about affordable housing. I served on the Hope Source Directors Board for 10 years about affordable housing. In the time that I have been there, we have provided funding for preservation of hundreds, literally hundreds of housing units. We put hundreds of thousands of dollars of county money into providing housing. We're not going to stop now, right? Some of you are giving me stink eye, but that's the truth. As you have heard my associates say, and I will say, we are not intending to close this park until we have an option. Now, they have said until we have a plan. I want to go